Two, one. All right. Rich, would you like to introduce yourself to the podcast and the people on the panel?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hi, how's it going, everyone? This is my name is Richard Abrue. I don't know what I am really, but I'm an entrepreneur, you could call me, I guess. I do a little bit of everything, but mostly my main identity is a real estate investor out here in Pinellas County, Florida. I do flips, I do rentals, and I do a little bit of private lending. That's my big thing, but I also do Turo. It's probably the other thing that I do as well.
Nice. Let's talk about your from the beginning, right? What were you like as a kid growing up? Going into high school and going to, I know you're in the military, so can you speak about that?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Honestly, I've never even, not that I haven't thought about it, but I never been asked that question live. So, but let's do it. So, growing up, I was one of two kids. You know, my mom was pretty entrepreneurial. She had the entrepreneurial spirit for sure. I grew up in Jersey City, New Jersey.
Hell yeah.
And a great, great family. I had my dad, I had my sister, and it was the four of us. Had some good support, from my aunt. But Jersey City is rough. You kind of school of hard knocks up there, but and my mom, she was the entrepreneur one for sure. Back then she had a factory, aka sweatshop, and she did that. She did, in the garment industry, she did stuff like that. So I learned a little bit got that spirit, I think, definitely from her. Went to high school, graduated high school, didn't have money. I did my first 3 semesters at Rutgers, and then I ran out of money, so I joined the military.
Nice.
And military, that was January 2001. And I'm still here in the military in the reserve capacity at this point.
What were you going for in Rutgers? What type of degree?
I was a dual major, computer engineering, computer science.
Okay.
I was on a 5-year program.
A lot of people that listen to this podcast are like usually from 18 to 26, and they're always like, should I go to college? Should I join the military? What should I do? Right? What's your perspective on like both the military and college?
Man, honestly, it depends you gotta be true to yourself, and honestly, I had this conversation with my son. My son just graduated high school, and I said, look,
Nice.
I'll support you whatever you do, whatever you want to do. You want a military, you got to do something, period, right? You can't just stay at home and play video games and eat Doritos, right? So, and I said, look, honestly, from what I see in you, I don't think you're a college kid. So you got to be true to yourself, Are you gonna succeed in college? I don't know, right? Maybe you will. But I think your best bet is to either pick up a trade or go in the military. And so he's decided to go in the Air Force. So he's on that path right now, going in the Air Force. So that's something that you just can't stay at home. I'll put it that way. You got to do something, right? So when it comes to, the younger guys on the podcast, hey, are you going to go to university? You're going to go to high school? You're going to do something else? That's fine. Just pick something, I think. And go with it. College is expensive, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have if you gotta like get debt and all that, get into debt and I wouldn't go to college. I would definitely seek a way to go to college for free. One of the things I did was I joined the military, so that's how I went to college for free, right? Or if someone else is paying it, you got VA, whatever, however. But I definitely wouldn't pull out a loan to go to college, man.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary now. You got so many guys that are, they go to college, they do whatever they pick as a degree for a few years, and then they're like, I'm gonna completely change my career path.
Yeah.
So you just wait, not that you wasted, you didn't waste the 4 years, but you could have been doing something else, trying to figure out life.
Yeah,
So
especially for young people, they don't even know what they want to do. So you putting them out there like, hey, spend $50,000 a year to go to the school to learn what you want, to figure out what you want to do. And like, oh, you've been programmed in high school to be like, oh, you want to be an engineer, doctor, lawyer, etc. And I like you said, like they don't even know what they want to do. So how was your lifestyle like in the military once you joined? Was it different?
Oh yeah, it was a huge culture shift, culture shock. I mean, I went from, city kid, not knowing how to fish or hunt or do any of that, you know. My first duty station was Fort Polk, Louisiana. My first MOS, I was a 19 Delta Scout, and I just, running in the woods, meeting all these other kids from all over the world. Just and they're like, "Hey, I never fished." They're like, "Hey, this how you fish," eating different foods. It was just um, a great environment. A lot of people do not like Fort Polk, Louisiana for obvious reasons, but it's not that bad. And the reason I say it's not that bad because it allowed me. If you stay in the barracks, yeah, if anywhere you go and you stay in the barracks, it's gonna suck. So you definitely have to see what's out there. Like I was a habitual every weekend. I'm gone. Houston, New Orleans, you got all these little pockets in Louisiana, and we would just get in the car and go, right? Um, so that's definitely one of my recommendations too. If you do join the army, don't or the military period, don't just stay in the barracks. Go out, explore, meet
Yeah.
people, learn new things, like and that's how I started way back then. I just started all these ideas coming in, and I'm like, oh, you could do that, or you could do that, or you could do this, and it just started like it's like a melting pot, all these different ideas coming in, and you're just learning about people from all walks of life. I thought it was pretty cool.
Nice. What got you to do the whole financial freedom route?
Man, I started late, honestly, in the financial freedom route. Um, I started, and it's great that you guys are starting now, starting a lot earlier than I am. We lack financial education in the US is poor. Like, and even like my kids are 18 and 19, and they went and just graduated high school. My daughter's at USF, my kids going to Air Force now. And just watching them, I had to teach them about everything finance, right? So you can't rely on the school system to teach kids financial education. Yeah, they can teach them the basics of the checkbook and all that stuff, but the real stuff that you need to know, I mean, we're lacking, man. And it's scary because I became financially savvy, so to speak, late in the game. And I know there's a lot of parents that are not financially savvy at all. So they just paycheck to paycheck like bad. So I feel for those kids like in school age kids they're not getting the financial education at home. They're not getting the financial education in school. So it's just a habitual, it just the wheels just is staying the same. You know what I mean? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So
So what's your
so
advice? What's your advice to those that want to get financially like, knowledgeable?
right.
What made you get like financially knowledgeable?
Man, I'll tell you one day, everybody's favorite purple book, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
Rich.
purple book changed my life, man.
And if anybody doesn't know what the purple book means, it's like Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's literally all his books are purple, so that's why people call it that. And when did you start reading that? While you were in the military?
Yeah, man, I tell you, so we got the real estate bug since like '04. Like when in 2004 I bought my first house. I was like 23 years old in Florida. Bought our first house, and everywhere we've gone, PCS who we said, hey, let's buy another house. Hey, let's buy another house. So we've slowly built like a portfolio.
Yeah.
It's '04. It wasn't a big portfolio. And then I got sent to Fort Bragg, North Carolina in 2019. And I think I heard, yeah, that's what I did. I heard the audio book, my drive from California all the way to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. So I listened to the audio book and I'm like, dude, this is legit, right? Wheels start turning. Like that book, that's what it does. All it does is it changes your mindset.
Yeah.
It's not the best book, right? But what it does is for all of us, it changes your mindset into being like, wait a minute, like asset, liabilities, the quadrant, right? It starts getting you thinking all these things. And that's when you start digging and digging and digging. So I listened to the book, the audio book on that drive. and that's when I pulled over, I was like, you know what? I started looking up real estate investment, Bigger Pockets came up, all these podcasts. And so, you got had like 3-day drive. I'm by myself. So I learned a lot in 3 days about real estate investing. And then definitely when I got to Fort Bragg, I started seeking meetups and things like that. And that's really April 2019. That's when I could say my official real estate journey began.
Nice. And how come you haven't have you dabbled into like being a real estate agent or anything source of like that, or is it just investing?
Yeah, I just got my license. My daughter and I, we just got our license
Oh, congrats.
last month. Thank you. Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
doing
but
it full time or part time?
no, I'm not. I'm really only doing it for our deals. Honestly, I'm not really doing it to be. That's the thing. And what I didn't know, and what I learned is just because you're a real estate agent doesn't mean you're doing residential retail stuff.
Mhm.
Like your normal, agent that buys house, lists house. You can do commercial, you can do property management. There's so many things that you could do with that license. But we ended up getting it because for two reasons. One, we were just throwing away an insane amount of money on commission.
Yeah.
I mean, and Florida, here in Florida, the average house is like 400,000. So you're selling, right now we're averaging, we're in the double digits for sure on flips. So that's $4 million in houses times 3%, 6% that you're giving away. That's a lot. That's a big chunk that you're giving away. So it made economical sense, financial sense for us to get our own license. That, and the second thing was a lot of these properties here in Florida are electronic lockbox.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of tired of asking my agent at the time. I was like, hey man, I need to go see. And as an investor, I walk 3 to 4 properties a day. So it's like asking them, hey, can you come meet me? I got to go see this house. I got to walk the property, and wait in. And I'm like, no, man, I can't do this. Like, time is money. So we decided to get our own license for sure.
Nice. And how does that work with lockbox? There's like an app that you get and then you open it and all that.
Yeah, it's like out here, like, because you got the regular mechanical lockbox, but then they have like this Bluetooth. I think it's Bluetooth. I don't know. There's some software you got to get on your phone.
Yeah.
And it code changes all the time, and you got to put your phone up against the lockbox, and it pops open. I forget the system, what the system's called. Anyways, but that's what it is. It's you got to have a phone. You got to have all these credentials, your MLS, and that's the only way you can open it. So you have to be an agent to open the door.
Nice. And a lot of people probably will wonder, like, how did you financially buy these properties? Like, did you do the whole 20% down, VA? Like, what is your route?
No, man, I tell you, I started with, well, the ones that I bought pre-April 2019 were all VA. Like VA, my wife and I are both military, so we did we would buy VA, and then since she has her VA, I got VA, and I got my VA. Going on to the next one, which you could do is roll it over to conventional loan.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like your VA home loan starts all over again, so to speak. And then you just get another VA, home. So that's what we were doing pre-2019. And then 2019, when I decided to get serious, I use a combination of back before COVID, I got a equity line of credit. Line of credit, not a home equity. It was just a regular. It wasn't even an equity line of credit. It's a line of credit.
Yeah.
So I got a few line of credit. I got 2 lines of credit back then. 3 lines of credit, and then I pulled all my money out of my TSP. So,
okay.
yeah. So that was so the lines of credit were 49,000 a piece, and then 2 of them were 49,000 a piece, and the other one was like 35,000. I forget the numbers.
What were the interest rate on those?
It's high. Like what I consider high is 8%.
Oh yeah, that's high.
Yeah, but I mean, the short-term solution. You know what I mean?
So you basically use like a hard money.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't have to tie it to, you don't have to secure it in any way. It's just you always have it. So you pay, you use it, you pay it off, you use it again, and like rinse and repeat.
Okay. So you use a line of credit on like, is it like a personal loan almost, or what was that?
Yeah, lines of credit. So a loan is like, let's just use some rough numbers. A loan, you say, hey, I need a loan for $10,000.
Yeah.
You get that $10,000, and then that's it. Like you can't, and you're paying it off, right? But they're not gonna give you anything else. You just got $10,000, that's it. Versus a line of credit is, sometimes they're secure. The ones that I had were unsecured, meaning they're not tied to a property or an asset.
Yeah.
So it's a line of credit. They tell you, hey, you have a line of credit of $10,000, right? You use 2,000, you still have $8,000 left. You pay off that original 2,000, now you got the full 10,000. So it's keeps like it's almost like a credit card, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a credit card. I guess you can kind of say that, because credit card you could, but it's more like money versus credit card is credit.
Yeah. Where would you go to get these lines of credit?
Local banks, man, local banks, you got to build. It's a little bit harder now for the lines of credit. I'll be honest, you just gotta, you gotta build relationships with local banks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm not gonna. She told me not to shout her out anymore,
Yeah,
but
I got it. I
the one that
know.
you used, that's where I started.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what got you so knowledgeable about credit and all that? We'll get into that more, but what started it all, like about credit and like credit cards?
I had a good friend in California who's real savvy on like travel card. Matter of fact, his brother had a website on how to like travel hack and credit card hacks and all that stuff. So that kind of got me thinking about credit cards and stuff. That got my wheels spinning on how to use the reward point system and all that. It's very confusing. I'll say right now, credit card, like the reward structure and the point structures
Yeah.
can be very confusing. So what I did, and it was so much I was trying to track like before 2019. And then I said, you know what's my goal here? Let me narrow it down to 2 to 3 credit cards. And so like right now, all I use are American Express.
Yeah.
And Chase cards, and everything else I don't even mess with anymore, really.
Okay.
And then so military pro tip, military, American Express, you get the platinum card, right?
Yeah.
And they have a business platinum card. That's $595 a year annual fee, but military, you get that for free.
They actually raised it up at $695 now.
Oh, dude, man. And it's a beautiful card, man.
You can get the business credit card with that?
Business platinum, unlimited, like there's no spending limit. It's like
What's it?
Go ahead.
What's the difference between that and the regular platinum card?
Between like a business platinum and a personal platinum. I think it's the same thing. The biggest difference is business cards, and we're kind of getting into this now. So business cards are definitely like on your business name, so they don't affect your personal credit. Whereas a personal, like right now, like I'll be upfront. So we do we got several projects going on. So we got several business platinum cards, and we'll put $15,000-$20,000 into these cards every month, right? Per card. And the bad news is you got to pay that off at the end of the month, right? But we're getting stuff in, flipping the houses and paying those cards off, right? So imagine let's just call it 3 business cards, $45,000 each. I mean, 15,000, that's $45,000 together. And then if that were to go on your personal credit, that's gonna raise some red flags.
Yeah.
Okay? Like your utilization is high, your credit score is gonna take a dip, like all these. So if you go to move over to using business cards, then whenever you go to do something with your personal credit, it's not affected.
Now, can you just get the business platinum credit card right away, or do you have to start low to start a business credit card?
No, you get it right away, man. Like all you need is an EIN. So, you
Yeah.
go to the IRS website, you get the EIN, and that's what I highly recommend. So like if I would have done everything all over again, and this is what I'm trying to teach my kids now is build your LLC early on, even
Yeah.
if it doesn't really do anything, right? But you want to build business credit, right, with that LLC. So even if you're not doing anything, it takes like 2 years to build good business for you to get a like record
Yeah.
business credit. There's different ways to do it. I'm kind of giving you like high level, not high level, but like a big overview, right? So I definitely say get the LLC early on, and then get your EIN off of that. Get a business checking account, which there's a bunch of them that are free. Then you could get a business credit card. And my first business credit card was the American Express Business Platinum. And
Okay.
with that, because it's a charge card, it's not a regular card. It's not like a regular credit card. That boosted up my business credit like substantially. My business credit skyrocketed, and then and I had my banker at the time. I said, hey man, I want to get a business loan, put it under the business name. I understand they're gonna run your credit on a personal side just to
Yeah.
see your which okay, cool. But she pulled up my business credit and she's like, how did you get business credit this quick? Like it's high, higher than it should be. And I'm like, I don't know. All I did was open up the American Business Platinum card. So that's what every time I open an LLC, that's the first thing I do is boom, business, American Business Platinum card. And it's so far it's worked. So we'll see if someone catches on.
All right. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try, and you can call and be like, hey, I'm in the military. Can I get that fee waived off? You can do that as well with the EIN.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll have to, once you get it, you'll see it on your bill. And this is how it's worked in the past. I don't know if it's changed in the past less than a year. You'll see it on there and you just call, be like, hey, I'm in the military. Can I get that fee waived? You could probably call beforehand and say, hey, look, I'm planning on opening up American Express Business Platinum. Is the fee still waived? You might have to ask around a little bit and get bounced around different departments, but yeah, you should still be able to do it with a business. I do with a business card every year.
Yeah.
When I see that, I didn't know it went up to 625. When I see it, I'm like, all right, let me call, and they take it off.
Yeah. When we first met, and you told me about the whole bit, the credit cards and all that stuff, and that you can get your fee waived off. I literally quickly applied for the gold card and platinum card, and I got them real quick too. I was like, all right, that's pretty good. Now I called them. I was like, hey, I'm in the military. I had to send like a letter that shows like my orders,
Right.
and they basically was like, yeah, you're in the military, you get it waived off. And funny enough, a lot of people that are out of the military, they still keep the benefits of it because I guess nobody's tracking down anything, and you know, I guess people are just reaping the benefits. So,
Yeah.
so let's talk about the whole Turo business, right? You're the first guy that I know that mentioned like, hey, I'm making cars make money. I'm like, okay. So what got you started in doing that?
It came going back to the purple book, right? Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
So, from that book, I learned every liability needs to become an asset some way, somehow. Like that's how my mentality is just like that now. I just everything, I'm in a boat club. So yeah, I could talk about that, but I'm in a boat club where I could I get a boat whenever I want. I'm in Florida. I'm like a mile from the water, from the Gulf. So I love boating. So I joined the boat club and I'm like, man, I got to turn this into asset. So now it's tied to my business because I do, instead of driving for dollars, I boat for dollars. There's a lot. That's what I do. And then whenever investors come in to this, because this is pretty hot right now, this area, I take them out on the boat and I'm like, hey, let's go just check out a sandbar and talk business. And it's a write-off, right? So that entire thing is a write-off now, right? The whole boat club.
Yeah.
Everything, this house that we bought, I bought it with the intention of making the second floor an Airbnb, so everything is how can I reduce my liabilities and make them all produce money, make them assets, right? So the same thing with the cars. My wife had an older car. She had a, Yukon Denali. I had that big old Yukon XL. We love our big trucks, but they're getting up there. They had like 200,000 miles on them. So I said, man, we're going to need new cars. So it started with one car. I said, all right, let's get one car. I started looking up, hey, how to make money on it. And I found Turo. I found a few other vendors or whatever you want to call them. Like what's the other ones? I forget what they're called, but Turo's a big one for me. And I said, oh, all right, well, I can rent my car. I could buy this car. We got a nice new car. I could buy it and put it on Turo whenever I don't really need it, because there's days when I don't even look at the car. But so I said, okay, let's do it. So I bought a Tesla. That was our first car. It was a Tesla Model. Yeah, it was a Tesla Model 3. It was like it had like 20,000 miles. Bought it. My wife was like, I don't know, you're getting a Tesla. We're truck people, like I told you.
Mhm.
She's like, this tree hugging car, right? So I'm like, no. So bottom line, she fall in love with the Tesla,
Okay.
but that's a different story. So we bought the Tesla and it was doing good on Turo. And I'm like, man, you know what? Let's just get another one. And so we ended up getting a Jetta. We got a Volkswagen Jetta, brand new. And then after that, it was like, man, this is doing really good. Let's get another one. So we ended up getting 2 more Jettas. And that's where we're at right now. We have the Tesla and 3 Jettas on Turo.
Nice. Okay. And how did you utilize your credit to get as many cars as you did? Is there like a hack where, you can get 5 cars in 1 month doing this technique, or do you know any sort of technique like that?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard of a technique where essentially, and you can use your business. And that's why I say, like, if you start now, you get your LLC now, you build that LLC name up. It's been around for 2-3 years. It's not a fresh new LLC. But when you go to apply for like a car, they see that you've been around for a couple of years. That's why I always say start the LLC early. At least one, even if it's not doing anything, you can still get it and have it, and then you're building for the next 2 to 3 years, right? So the way it works is you just go and say, hey, I want to get a car loan under my business name. And it's really that simple, man. It's not difficult. They're gonna check your personal credit, just to make sure that you got decent credit, but it'll go under your business name. Now I've heard, and when it goes under your business name, again, just like the credit cards, that doesn't affect your personal credit. So if you have, let's say, I'm just throwing numbers, let's say you have 10 cars under your business name and you got 4 houses under your business name, none of that's touching your personal credit. It doesn't come up. So they don't see that you owe like $3 million in debt, on your personal side. They don't see that. So that's why it's important, again, to start building that LLC, name, the credit, and whenever you need it. I put everything on. I'm telling you right now, I put everything under my business as much as I can. Everything goes up under the business. I go out to eat, business, it's usually business oriented anyways. I use a business credit card, it's all tax deductible stuff. So that's, one of the other things the Purple Book teaches you is how to I don't want to say avoid taxes, right? I want to say
Pay less taxes.
pay less taxes and work that tax book, man. That's they say, this is what I've heard. I haven't looked at the book, but the tax book is like this thick. This much teaches, this much is how to pay taxes. This much is how to not pay taxes. So like it's the tax codes are made for you not to pay taxes. Honestly, that's how I feel. They're made for business owners that are putting food on the table, like that's what business owners do in the bigger scheme of things. If you think about like me in real estate, and I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but in real estate, when I do a deal, like let's say I do a flip, well, there's agents involved, there's wholesalers, the title company, the contractors, the people working at the carpet store. people at Home Depot, you know, the person that's going to buy the house. All these people are affected by what you do as a business owner. Whereas, like, and that's what people don't understand. Like, oh, well, why do businesses pay less taxes? It's because I'm doing more for the economy as a
Yeah.
whole than one single person is. Like the typical, this I usually say I pay less taxes than a McDonald's worker. You know, a McDonald's worker, all he's worried about is that one little pot. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna go buy some Jordans. I'm gonna buy my iPhone, and I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna drink all weekend, right? That's what they care. And not that all of them are like that, but generalization, right? Whereas a business owner is like, yo, I got to pay my bookkeeper. I got to, you know, there's all these people involved. I got employees. There's so much more involved when it's a business owner in a business.
And you're
So,
taking most of the risks as well because you're like the head of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's same with the, I forget who it was, either it was Carnegie or Vanderbilt. They were like, well, how come you make billions of dollars and your employees, they're making like $2 an hour? And again, back then at $2 an hour was probably like $10 or here now. But he said that, well, he owns all this crap, right? He owns basically the whole United States almost, like all
right.
the railroads and all this, all the iron, all the metal. And like, he's like, well, if I fell, right, if I didn't have full management and control of everything, none of all these people would have jobs. And all he's doing, he's on like he's just doing one thing. Like, I guess like in your case, you said flipping burgers. In his case, he's just like saying, just moving one part to another. That's all he's doing. While
Yeah,
Vanderbilt, either Carnegie, they were basically looking over like, okay, how can I make money on this? How can I pay insurance on this? What's the liability on this? There's a bunch of stuff that you got to look forward to. And going back to the whole Turo thing.
my
Uh,
bad.
no, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good. I like that you go off of this. Uh, what type of customers do you usually attract?
Yeah, so just like any business, you have to do your research, right? Whether it's houses, burgers, whatever it is, you have to do your market analysis and market research. So when I moved here, I started kind of looking at cars and then what does Tampa attract? I'm in Tampa, St. Pete area. So what's the attraction out here, right? Well, obviously we got the beach, we got a lot of business, conferences. I'm like, okay, cool. That's what's the demographic, psychographic that's coming in. And then I looked at I honestly I bought this I think it's called, I can't remember what it's called, what company does it, but it essentially they look at your area and they tell you these are the cars that we recommend based on all these variables. And they break it down by age and they break it down by how many cars are in the area. So it's real and pretty in depth, right? So I paid for that. I think it was like $50, no big deal. So $50, and they show you these are the cars. If I were to start a Turo business, these are the cars that I would want. Um, and well, the Tesla was, we were going to get a Tesla anyway. So that was the next step was, all right, what are we getting after the Tesla? So we looked at all the cars and we're like, Volkswagen Jetta, that was one of the ones on the list, you know, and based on that, that's how I bought the first Volkswagen Jetta.
Yeah. So
I got
basically, you
it.
basically go off of what a Turo just says, like, hey, this is good for your area, and just buy this
Yeah.
vehicle. And what are the earnings looking like? Like, is like, I'm guessing like, I don't know how much that would be a day. How much are you getting from your Tesla a day?
Yeah, so let me just add, going back to the market research real quick. I did want to, so I paid for that, the $50 to get the market research done. Right now, there's a website called CarSync, CARSYNC.io.
Yeah.
And you could do your own research on there. It's kind of like an AirDNA, but you know, AirDNA you got to pay for.
Yeah.
But this is CarSync is for Turo cars. It's completely, totally, utterly free. So you can go in there and put in your city, and it'll tell you, hey, these are how many Jettas are here, how many Civics, what year they are, you know, how much they're making per day, you know, all the statistics that you need to make an informed decision are on there, you know. So it's free. You know, if anyone's looking at doing Turo, that's probably I would look there. And Turo does have a car calculator that kind of tells you, like, based on last year's metrics, how
Yeah.
much car is going to make. It's all right. But it's dated info. So I would look at, you got to look at that, and you got to look at car sync to be able to tell. Because obviously, if you go to Miami, maybe everybody wants convertibles. You go to Colorado and it's January, no one wants a convertible. So you got to be sure you do your market research and see, is there an oversaturation of certain cars and certain, and I don't think I answered your previous question completely about, there is a way, I've never done it, that you could go into, let's say, 10 different dealerships and buy 10 different cars, like quick. You have to do it like within a week or so. But I'm not an expert on that at all. But I've heard people do that where they could get like 30 cars in a month or some crazy insane stuff. Your personal credit is probably going to tank a little bit, especially if you don't put it on a business credit. And you probably won't be able to put all those cars on business credit, but you're definitely is going to take a hit in credit.
Yeah. And how much are you making from your Tesla?
So the Tesla, right now I keep it probably half the month. No, I keep it more because here's the beauty of it. We talk about the purple book, assets and liability. So what the Turo has allowed me to do is I take those 4 cars and I car hack, and now I pay for one car. I pay for those 4 cars with my Turo earnings. And then what I've been able to do is buy another Tesla, my personal Tesla, that doesn't go on Turo.
With that money.
Yeah, so it's making sufficient, and it's a Tesla Model S Plaid, brand new, and then like 0 miles. So like, so I'm not making. I'll be upfront. I'm not making a whole lot in Turo now. I'm kind of breaking even, but I'm car hacking. So if I didn't car hack, I could totally be making an actual profit. Where right now I'm kind of just breaking even.
Okay. Yeah.
And so. Let me tell you, I got my car sync thing right here. Let me just pull up the numbers. And I'll tell you how much we made. I got pretty good, and the car sync has some pretty good statistics. I probably should have had this for you earlier, but let me see if I can find it. Yeah, that's not it.
Because there's always like 3 things that I look at. There's always 3 things that people need: housing, food, and transportation. So if you can make money for either one of those 3, you'll be successful. And you're already doing 2 out of 3. You're doing, next thing you know, I feel like you're going to open up Domino's.
No, man, that's it. I tell you, I joined this is another thing we could talk about. I joined a mastermind group last year, and they've helped me to hyper focus. And a lot of things I was doing, I got rid of, because I was doing too much. And I'm doing way more volume versus way more of all this like other stuff,
Yeah. What mastermind is that?
Man, I tell you, let me do this and then we'll talk about the mastermind.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe that's cool. Because I can talk about the mastermind for hours, man.
Is that, I'm gonna guess it's the military mastermind.
No, man, it's not.
Okay.
I almost did. I almost joined that one. It wasn't for me. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least you're honest.
I'm a big, I not that it's just whatever, you gotta be true to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you can't just go there because like a whole bunch of other people are there. Like you can't be the herd mentality, in my opinion. You got to be true to yourself and be like, is this really like my kind of people? And not that they're not my kind of people, it's just not what I'm looking for now. Maybe in 5 years it might be, but right now it's not my forte.
True.
Yeah, so like for example, last month, July, which was a slower month, actually, we made $4,000. $4,000. That's gross. $4,054, and our expenses are $2,600. So that's all the car payments, all the insurance. Our expenses are $2,600 a month, and then on average, we're making, like last month, July, we made $4,054. This month, we're on pace to make $3,800. Our biggest month was in March, and that was $6,000.
Okay. That's with all four
So
vehicles?
that's all 4 vehicles. Yeah. Yeah. The Jettas do way better. If I put the Tesla on there more, I would probably make like, it would be bigger number,
Yeah.
but we use it a lot. The kids love the Tesla. They're like, hey dad, can I borrow it? It's like 18, 19-year-old going to prom, they're like, hey, I'm gonna use a Tesla. I'm like, all right, go ahead.
This
So
good.
it's got-
You just tell them to go on Turo and like, book a rent on there. Use their own money to
yeah.
do it. But
And that,
for the sorry,
that's
yeah.
that's Turo numbers too, because what I also do is I rent outside of Turo.
Oh, really?
So I got a lot of real estate buddies here that are like, hey, can I borrow the Tesla? I'm going here, I'm going there. So I'll make an additional easy. Honestly, on the Tesla and even the Jetta too. Outside of Turo, I'll make an additional probably $800 a month, 800 to 1,000 a month.
Nice, nice. And how much can someone? So you're saying like with one vehicle, you can expect make profiting 1,000 a month statistically?
Yeah, you could probably make about, yeah, it just man, there's so many variables, man, and that's why you really got to do your market research, right?
Yeah.
It just depends on the car. There's like me, my thing was I wanted newer cars. Like there's people that are like, hey, I'm gonna buy a $6,000 car and put it up for $30 a day, and they're killing it. They're absolutely killing it. But that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted newer cars. I wanted an older demographic. I didn't want like none against your age category, but I
Yeah.
didn't want 21-year-olds speed racing in my Camaro, so
Yeah.
so definitely I picked the car that was, and I'll tell you right now, most of my, because what is that? You hear that?
No, I didn't hear that. What is it?
Hold on a second. I hear something weird going on. Okay, it's over. All right. That was weird. So I picked a car that was like right now I can look at all my renters and they're all 35 to like 35 to 70 is my sweet spot. They're an older demographic. They take slightly better care of your cars, versus, none against the younger guys, but a lot of them are like, hey, I got a Honda Civic. I'm gonna fucking smoke weed in it, and it's happened to me. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna race it, and like the Jettas. I'll look at the Jettas, and I can see no, the Tesla. I can see the speed limit, how fast they're going on the app. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, like they're 70, 80. They're conservative. Whereas, you give it to some 20-year-olds, doing 120 down 35, and I'm like, man, come on, this is.
And do you have like cleaners and all that stuff, or do you do that all by yourself?
So I do the cleaning myself just because I used to take it to like this car wash place. They do everything, right? You drop it off, they do it all.
Yeah.
And it wasn't expensive. It was like maybe $50 per car. But they did it all unlimited, right? And but they weren't cleaning it like I want it clean, my
Yeah.
attention to detail. So I felt like it was important for my guests to have that clean car, like I'm taking care of this car, right? I'm not giving you a rental. This is an experience that I'm building here. So I clean the cars myself. It doesn't take me long. It usually takes me about 30 minutes at most, but it's a break for me. Like getting out of, this, I do a lot of computer work. I'm constantly on the computer. So it's a break for me to go out there, sweat a little bit, clean, wipe, kind of, it's humbling. And then my kids and mostly my kids, they transport the car to the airport.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
with the a lot of people like myself, right? Whenever I think of people renting cars, I think of like Lamborghinis and like really high value type of cars. Uh, is that like a false theory that is that a false theory that people have in a way, or is that's not like the typical driver? People are not actually driving Lamborghinis like that.
They are, man. There's people that are. I know one guy that we talk often, and he's highly successful and I think he's in Houston, if I remember correctly. He's highly successful in like this dude has like 3 Lambos, like a Ferrari, a Rolls, Corvettes.
Damn.
This dude, I think he's your guy's age, like 26, right around that, early mid 20s, and he's killing it, man. But like you can't go, in my opinion, you gotta start out with one area, right? Like if you
Yeah.
want to do cheap cars, do cheap cars, man. If you want to do expensive cars, do expensive cars. Whatever it is, like my Jettas are all white. They're all white. They're all the same exact Jetta. Like I didn't reinvent nothing. I just said, this is what works. I'm going deep in the Jettas, you know.
Hmm.
You know, there's this thing that, you know, they tell you go deep and then or you can go wide, right? Wide is you have all these, you know, you got the minivans, you got the trucks, you got all this stuff. Whereas deep is like, yo, this is my thing. It's cheap cars, on $6,000 cars, rent it for $30 a day. If that's your thing, that's your thing, you know, and go deep in it, you know, but you can't bounce around, you know, that's when you start bouncing around and have all these bright ideas, you know, that's when things start getting
Stick with
messy.
one thing, you're saying. Stick with one
Yeah,
thing.
one
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, you pick one thing and you master it, and then you can be like, okay, I got this, you know, I got the systems and processes in place for this.
Yeah.
I hand this off, and then I'm gonna go do this.
Okay. Now let's talk about, let's say like I just heard your podcast, right? I'm like, okay, I want to get started in doing Turo.
Yeah.
I want to rent out my car, my personal car. I don't use it on the weekends. I could do it on the weekends. So
Yeah.
let's say they download the app. Now, do they have to set it somewhere so that someone picks it up and then you drive it? Do they get it how does that process work? Like, what is a daily process? Like, oh, they ran it out, they came back. How does that work?
Okay, you talk about like if, for example, I've never done Turo before. I live in, like, I just moved over here to Tampa area. I'm looking to put my car up. Is that kind
Yeah.
of how?
It,
Okay,
it kind of, no, it's like you did it, but how does the process work where like, do you have to go to their house and drop it off? Or do they come to you? How does that whole thing work?
yeah. And so you set that up. Honestly, you could, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll tell you right now, the heavy hitters are going to be the airport, right? So like a lot of people pick up at the airport. Like I would say 85% of my bookings are from the airport. And then we got two airports here. There's Clearwater and there's Tampa. So the majority of it is there. Then another, probably a smaller portion, 10% is right here by my house. You know, I live fairly close to the main road, so I have a business there.
Mhm.
There is a business there that I take I drop them off there and they pick it up. They don't pick it up from my house. They pick it up from that business. That way I kind of keep my life separate.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, like I've heard of people putting like Target as the address,
Yeah.
like a Target parking lot, a Walmart parking lot. I mean, I'm not telling you to do that, but what I'm saying is you could do that if you wanted to. So you could pick, and then the fourth option is, so you have the two. For me, it's, I got two airports. I got my close to my personal house, and then the other one is a delivery. Like I deliver, sometimes I'll deliver directly to someone's house, but that's a charge. All those are charges. Like if
Oh,
I'm taking to the airport, I charge like $50. All right. If I take it to your house within a 20-mile radius, that's $80, right? So, you know, if it's at my house or close to, you know, right next door pretty much, it's free, you know. So you could determine how much you're gonna charge to take it to the airport and how much you're gonna charge to deliver it. If you want to deliver it. If you don't want to do that, that's fine.
oh, that's cool. I didn't think of it like that. And when, let's say they're coming back, do they drop it off near your area or do they still drop it off like, let's say the airport or something?
Usually it's exactly where they picked up. So if
Okay.
they pick up from Tampa Airport, then they drop off at Tampa Airport. And like, again, going back to Car Sync, I love this app, man. What you can build in there is automated messaging.
Yeah.
So you have these, you build your templates, and then they go out at predetermined times. So as soon as someone books, they get a message. Hey, thanks for booking with us. Hi, Cheryl, whatever her name is, right? Thanks for booking with us. You're booked on this date with this car at this location, right? And then it's kind of like mail merge. You ever heard of mail
Yeah.
merge?
Yeah. Mail merge. Yeah.
So it's and you set, hey, as soon as they book, 5 minutes later, this message goes out. An hour before the booking starts, this message goes out. Like, so it's completely automated. Before I used to do the copy and paste, like copy and paste this message, okay, set an alarm. Nah, dude, it's all automated. Like
It's like
now,
Airbnb.
yeah. Oh man, Airbnb, dude. I don't. I Airbnb from a distance now, man. I got rid of. I don't even use property managers anymore because I
Yeah.
automated it all. I
Yeah, they
mean,
take like 25%. I'm like, that's a lot,
100%, dude.
dude. That's a
So
lot.
yeah.
I'm
So
like, give
you
me that
just
shit. I can do that on my own. And the thing about do you whenever you're getting the vehicle back, do you take pictures of like, let's say, like, what about the damages? You know what I mean? Uh,
yeah.
are damages common whenever you're doing this, or is it like that's like a myth too?
It again, I hate saying it depends, but it depends on what your demographic's gonna be, right? So like
Yeah,
if you got those Camaros, you got Chevy Camaros convertible, that I mean, what are you gonna attract? What demographic are you aiming for? Whereas like me with Volkswagen Jettas, I usually don't have an issue, man. I have 200 trips at this point. And I think I started in what, September last year, maybe October. So I haven't been doing this long, but I got 200 bookings already, like
oh
200
shit.
completed trips. Like I've been an all-star host since I started pretty much. All 5-star. I got one freaking 4-star review. I'm like, come on, really? Why? Like why did he give me a 4-star? And she won't respond. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So, but all my lists is everything's 5-star. But in 200 trips, I've only really had 2, maybe 3 issues. Pictures are gonna be huge. Before pictures, like you gotta take literally, I take like 200 before pictures. Like, and all you do is on the app, you start just clicking the shutter button and you just walk around the car a few times, inside, outside. It only takes like 3 minutes to do it. It's not long.
Yeah.
But pictures are gonna be, because that's what Turo goes by. They only go by, if something happens, they probably go by pictures. They don't go by, hey, like an example, if they smoke weed, hey, it smells like weed in here. Well, I need physical proof. That's a bad thing. But they always leave proof. I've always been successful in getting, and if they smoke weed, it's 250. If they smoke anything, it's $250.
And what about like damages on the vehicle? How do you get that? Do you get reimbursed for that?
Yeah, similar process, man. You just make sure you take your before and after pictures, and then don't freak out. If you're putting your car on Turo, this is just like if you do short-term rental like Airbnb, if you do any kind of business, there's a risk. You can't be emotional, right? You got to be like, okay, it's a business. I'll tell you about this really bad experience in a minute. But it's a business. Things are gonna happen. You gotta think clear headed and be like, okay, what am I gonna do? Like you can't be yelling, you can't be, people are you can't control people. So take your pictures, submit your claim, and Turo usually, almost always, I've never had a problem with Turo paying me out. They've always paid out everything, and I've never had a problem.
Now, do they pay only like the damage, or do you get a little bit of like, some over the money as well for the damages?
I mean, it depends how you word it, right?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
you know, you, they're gonna pay out what you tell them. So
yeah.
so I'll tell you about this bad experience I had about it. Had just bought this Jetta, man. This was a Cherry. This is the only Jetta that out of the 3 Jettas, I got one that's different, and that's because I think I'm gonna keep it. And my son wants it. So it's a nicer Jetta. It has a leather sunroof. It's a nicer Jetta. The first booking that I put, that it went on, the first trip it went on, the lady texts me. She's like, "Hey, I want to extend for another 3-4 days." And I'm like, "This is awesome! Like I just made my entire monthly payment like in this one trip and my insurance, right?" So I'm like, "Awesome! I'm already in the positive." So I'm like, "Yeah." So she returns it on time, and I'm like, "Cool, all right, let me go get the car." And like I said, it was a local pickup. So they came to that business I told you about. I walked over there, checked it out. I'm like, all right, it looks a little bit, dirty, but I open it. I got hit with that weed smell, that marijuana right in the face. Boom. Right? I'm like, all right, that's number one, right? All right, cool. Um, and I tell you, Matt, like all smokers they always leave this ash underneath the seats. They never clean the seats,
Ah,
like under the seats. So you'll always find the ash, and that's your photo evidence. Boom. Take the picture, you send it to Turo, $250. You throw an ozone generator in there. I bought an ozone generator for $50, $50 off of Amazon. Sucks all that. You can't even tell anyone smoked in there anymore.
oh shit. Nice. There you go.
Yeah,
You go.
so
That's pretty,
yeah,
that's some nice tips right there. Check under the seats with the ozone layer.
later, bro. That ozone generator works magic, man. Dead people, like I had a house with someone had died in, and
Okay.
yeah, they were, the pool, like the blood had coagulated, and so we threw the ozone generator in there, man. I think can't even tell.
Oh, I gotta get
Yeah,
one now.
yeah. I mean, there was other things, cat piss and all this other stuff that smells, but you got to do you got to do a bio cleanup anyways. But it's
Yeah.
still, well. But anyways, that's a different story. Get back to Turo. So, yo, this chick had smoked weed in the car, put tints on the car,
Hints?
but then yeah, all
She,
in like a 5 days.
it's not even her car. Why would she put
Uh,
tints?
Exactly. She put tints in her car, and then but then she put tints in my car, and then she went to take it off and left all the glue residue on. I
Okay.
don't. This is the weirdest thing, man. So smoked weed had glue residue on there. Punctured 2 tires. Like, yeah, there was missing like tools. Like the car, the Volkswagen come with like a little toolkit, so you
Yeah,
could.
yeah, on the back, yeah. All
So
that.
there was screwdriver. There was like a screwdriver missing. It was a bunch of little stuff, right? Like the wheel caps were missing. I'm like, this is so awkward. But anyways, it was total. It was, I went to Volkswagen and I said, hey, give me an estimate for the tires, for all this stuff. And then I was like, I had to do a deep cleaning. All it so total, I think the total bill was like $1,400.
Shit.
Yeah, like the damages. And at that time I had a $250 deductible. So Turo gave me the difference. They gave me $1,150.
Yeah.
And it only cost me like $300 to fix the car, like to get it back normal.
Okay. Wow.
So I pocketed the remainder, so like it's like, okay, cool. You want to smoke weed? All right, I'll just $250. Here's my ozone generator for an hour, and I get 250. Like the Tesla just came back, and dude, I made like $800 extra because the lady was just being not nice. And so late fees, I had to charge her late fees. I had to charge her. She didn't charge the car to 80%. She smoked in it. So I made like an additional $800 on this last trip.
Wow. That's you that's like money making right there, like just from like problems. Like you can make the problem that you're fearing into like a profitable thing. Just from like, taking the evidence of it and like here, and you could find a cheaper way of fixing it. Or just like it's just like a normal task. You can probably do it yourself as well. Like you said, put the ozone in there and then you're
Yeah,
done.
yeah, I paid. Yeah, for that first one that I was telling you about, I paid. So I got 2 tires, and I think I paid like 200. I don't know how much I paid, $200. Um, and then I had to pay another like $100 to get no, it was like $60 to get all that glue residue out, because that was hard, I'll tell you, and I didn't want to do it. So I paid, like I said, a total of $300 or something like that, and I pocketed the rest. So, and that's what I mean. You can't get emotional with it. Just think level-headed. Hey, I'm a business owner. What do I have to do? Solutions. Find solutions. As an entrepreneur, business owner, it's all about finding solutions to your problems. You know what I mean? It's not like you can't get emotional. Things happen every day, dude. I mean, you just can't be emotional about any of it.
Okay. I'm just thinking of like, man, now you're giving me ideas of how I can do this as well. Like make your own like vehicle into a Turo thing, and like I'm thinking of like renting it out on the weekends or something, and then using it on the weekdays somewhat. You can do it that way, right? Like people can like you can like
Yeah.
be like, oh, these days are blocked off, but these days are available.
Yeah, that's what I do, man. Whenever like now we kind of leave ever since, because we just got the Model S like last month. So every time we leave the Tesla on there now. But before, because we love, I mean, the Tesla's so damn cool, I ain't gonna lie. We would keep the Tesla only on for like half a month. And so you could block and say, hey, I want to use for Christmas, I want to use for this, you could block those days out and only rent when you want to rent. You might not be as profitable, but at least again, just like house hacking,
Mhm.
you're gonna car hack and you're gonna offset your monthly payments.
Yeah, definitely worth it. Definitely worth it, especially if you're paying like a $500 monthly, uh, fucking, uh, what is it, mortgage? I don't know what you call it. What do you call on a vehicle? Like,
Car
what is
payment, car payment, yeah,
car pay?
car
Yeah,
payment.
you're paying a
Yeah,
car payment every month, and
yeah,
you could be like, oh, and you barely drive. You probably just drive to work and come back. You could probably rent it out online. Because I recently just bought a 2022 fucking what is it, Corolla,
yeah.
and I'm like, God damn, this is so expensive, right? Because my car broke down, and I'm like, okay, what's the best efficient type of car that I can somewhat afford, right? And I'm like, okay, military might can go towards that. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I got the Corolla. I'm like, now I'm trying to figure out, wait a minute, like you said, turn your liabilities and assets. Can I rent this out for, because the monthly payment is like about like 564. So I'm like, okay, couple of days of the week, just rent it out. And I got two vehicles right now. So I'm like, okay, an old ass Jeep, you said rent that out for $60. I could probably be making somewhat. So I'm gonna be definitely testing it out, testing out the waters.
Yeah, yeah. Check it out, man. Especially, I mean, you're still in Fayetteville, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Fayetteville before Bragg is big, is transient. You know what I mean? I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean there's a constant. That's
Flow.
why
Yeah,
Airbnbs do so great in Fayetteville because they're constantly in and out.
yeah.
Like 3, 4 months, the families are coming in. Like there's so many people flowing in and out of Fayetteville, man.
All right. Chris here has a question here. He says, "Hey Richard, how are you able to get the cars you have? How did you build the credit to get the financing?" So I guess this question is, how did you build up to good credit?
Yeah, so what I mentioned before was essentially because I have my Ella and they're all under, no, I think one of them, if I remember correctly, one of them is not under my LLC. But essentially what I did was I went to again, building those relationships with local banks. Because I went to the local bank and I said, hey, look, I want to buy this car. This is for X reason, for business purposes. And they said, okay, cool. So they gave me a business loan on that one, on the Tesla. I got a business loan. And then the next, Jetta, I went in and I said, the first Jetta I bought, I said, I want a Volkswagen themselves. And I said, hey, look, I want business credit, blah, blah, blah. That one didn't work out. I'll be upfront. That one they ended up putting that one in my personal name. But then what I did was on the next two Jettas, I went back to my local bank and I said, hey, I'm getting two more for my business. I need to put these under my business name and business credit. And that worked out. So in that same bank, that local bank, I have 3 auto loans. Matter of fact, I have 4 auto loans because I bought another car. But I have 4 auto loans with that local bank under my business credit. So they don't show up on my personal name, right? So that's the importance of, again, building those relationships with the local banks and getting that LLC started. Even if you're not gonna do anything with it, just get it, man. Because if like later on you can be like, oh shoot, you know what? Let me buy a car under my business name,
Yeah,
right? Like in a year or two. And that's what my kids are like, they have LLCs, they're 18 and 19. And they're like, and there's nothing in there. They just have them because eventually they're gonna need to buy a house, they're gonna need to buy this, they're gonna need to buy, so I'm trying to set them up to whenever they need to buy those things, if you could buy it under your business name, buy it because it doesn't touch your personal credit.
yeah. I saw a video on Facebook once. It was like this, like this family in the hood, right? And this mom, a very very good mom, she got her kid went on his 18th birthday. Like, here, it's a package. and he opened it, and it was literally like, the LLC. He's like, listen, you don't know what this is, but this will provide you a lot. You can start a business, you can start whatever you want. So this is your birthday gift. Okay. I made you an LLC and you got to get started on it. And then of course, in an 18-year-old mind, you're like, what the hell is this paper? Right. I don't give two rat's ass about this. But like later on, we're like, okay, I could put my Turo business on there. And do you put all your real estate and Turo business in one LLC, or do you have it all separate?
No, I got several LLCs at this point, man. It's
Why don't
all
you have an S
yeah.
corp yet?
Yeah, so I'm in the middle of that right now. So I do real estate full time now. So I had a comment. Everyone's different. Disclaimer: I'm not a CPA. I'm not here for financial. So that whole disclaimer thing, but you got to have. It depends. It just depends, and you got to have that conversation with your CPA to see what makes more sense for you. So in our particular situation, it didn't make sense prior to this year for us to be LLC filing as an S corp. It's gonna make sense this year because now I'm full time. I'm doing, I'm a business owner. I'm not self-employed, right? So it makes sense this year based on what our conversation with the CPA to be a LLC filing as an S corp. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
And
And
remember, so one thing I do want to clarify is LLC means limited liability company corporation is, however, but the key words are limited liability. So what that means is every LLC you have is its own separate pot, so you have a pot with North Carolina houses, they're rentals, a pot with North Carolina flips, right? That's a different LLC. You got all your cars in one LLC, right? You got your Florida stuff, however, so you want to compartmentalize, right? All these pots, because what ends up happening is this is where litigation, I think that's people sue the fuck out of each other, excuse me.
yeah,
Right, that happens day in day out, right? And when you start climbing the ladder, what ends up happening is people want to sue you. They're like, oh, Rich has or John has all this stuff, right? I'm gonna go get them. So if you don't have everything compartmentalized and have it all in one LLC, they could get it all, brother.
yeah,
They can get it all. Like, think about it. Like I'm not gonna say how many cars I have, but I gotta get them out. I got double-digit cars, right? I got double-digit houses. I got, net worth is ridiculous. So people see that and they're like, yo, I'm gonna go get this dude, right? And if you don't have it compartmentalized like that and set up correctly, then it's not gonna be a pretty day.
yeah. It's a scary move, especially when you first get sued. That's when it's like it's gonna hit you the most. It's like, oh, you didn't prepare for it, you didn't do anything for it. I know, like when you become a landlord, that's when it's like,
Oh, dude. I don't know why people think I'm just trying to get going as much as anybody else, man. I mean, they just think because you're a landlord, you got all this money. It's like, nah, dude, I gotta pay this guy, I gotta pay that guy. I got a lot of debt.
yeah. I always tell people I'm not making a lot of money. I'm just handling a lot of money. Okay, that's the point. It doesn't go to me. It goes to everybody else.
Right? Yeah. That's what it is, man. It's I make good money. I'm not gonna say we don't, but because if you don't make good money, I mean, let's be upfront. If you don't make good money doing what you do, I mean, yeah, you love it, but at the same time, you gotta love it and you gotta make money because that's what makes the world go around, right?
Yeah. And another question here is, do you get any insurance? Or what type of insurance do you need for your vehicles? Is it like some type of different, is it not personal insurance on the vehicles, or is it something else?
Yeah, I get this is a tricky subject, right? First of all, do not tell your auto insurance person that you're doing this, right? Number
Yeah.
one. Because honestly, if anything happens to your cars while they're in a Turo trip, Turo takes care of it.
Yeah.
Like, and your insurance company is not involved in any way, shape, or form if something happens to your car while on a Turo trip. So you only really need insurance for when you're driving it yourself for whatever reason, right? So So I have personal insurance almost on all. I used to have commercial insurance on everything, and then commercial insurance is like
Super
sometimes
expensive.
it's cheaper. It depends who you go with, right? So, but right now I have personal insurance on it all the car on those cars, and that's sufficient.
Okay, nice. And
But if you tell them again, if you tell them like, just like you can't tell them you're doing Uber, you can't tell them you're doing Lyft. Not that you're being shady about it. It's nothing about being shady. It's like they
it's like,
frown upon that when they don't understand it.
yeah, they don't understand it, and they're like, oh, we're just gonna jack up the price because it looks like you're gonna do harm.
Yeah, yeah. Like
And
if a normal mortgage company looked at my like credit, they're like, oh my God, this dude has like $4 million in debt. I'm
yeah,
like, yeah, but it's all paid for, like I'm not paying it, right?
yeah,
So that's the same thing with insurance. It's like they don't most people don't understand that. Like they're like, oh, this guy has 8 cars. Why does he have 8 cars?
you gotta give them
Uh,
the purple book.
yeah, purple book. Give him the purple book, man.
Well, what's been the most like stressful to you in all of your businesses? Was Airbnb, rentals, Turo? What's been the most stressful?
Man, they're all stressful in different forms, man. Honestly, you gotta again, you can't be emotional about these businesses. It's businesses. You're gonna have stress. Whatever you do, if you sell hot dogs in a freaking stand, you're gonna have some kind of stress, man. So it's how you manage it, how you deal with it, right? Um, and that's why I always say don't be emotional about any of this stuff, man. Just be like, okay, calm headed, level headed. Behind closed doors, you can do whatever you want. Like I have a screaming session where I close the doors and I'm like, we're gonna put some rock music on and I'm just banging out, right? But that's fine behind closed doors. But when you're a business owner, you got an entrepreneur, people gotta see you as this cool, level-headed dude.
Yeah.
That's the persona you want to kind of like, that's cool, man. All right. Right. So the most stressful, man, so I am really bad with managing contractors, property managers, like that stuff. Like I'm really bad. That's the most stress for me, dealing with that contractors, period. They're tough people to deal with, in my
Hmm.
opinion, for me. My wife is way better at it. My wife is a drill sergeant, like she's a WC instructor, like she manages people way better than I do, right? So the key to that is if you have something that's highly stressful, in my opinion, the key is find someone that'll do it for you, or not
Yeah.
for you, but like books, like QuickBooks and all that,
Yeah.
dude, that's highly stressful for me. That's the first thing that I hired out. I got a bookkeeper.
Like a
I'm like,
CPA. Yeah.
yeah, no. So you have when you talk in books, you have 3 different pillars. You have your bookkeeper, which just manages the transactions. Then you got a CPA, which manages your taxes.
Yeah.
And then you have those are your you can get either one first. Like most people get a CPA first
Yeah.
because they're gonna file your taxes, and then
They're gonna offer
they get the
your,
book.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That the CPA usually offers to do your QuickBooks as well.
Sometimes, but sometimes you don't want the same person handling it for whatever reason. It
Yeah.
might be for whatever reason, you just don't want. Like right now, I have a CPA and I have a bookkeeper. They're
Yeah.
2 different people. So I hired my CPA first. I've always had a CPA for decades. And a different CPA, but I've always had a CPA. And then I hired my bookkeeper. I've hired 2 different bookkeepers so far. And then the third pillar, which is a more advanced course, is a CFO, Chief Financial Officer.
What do they do?
Now,
I never heard of that.
so
What do they do?
so the way I look at it is a
Are they like a
bookkeeper
tax strategist? A tax strategist?
tax strategist. They're the specialists. They're kind of your bookkeepers are your day-to-day people, your nurse. Like if you look at a doctor's office, right? So
Yeah.
your bookkeepers are kind of like your nurse. Like they're there every day checking the transactions, checking the vitals. They do the majority of the work. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie. Then your your CPA is kind of like the doctor in a way, right? CPA goes in and like, okay, well, based on all your books, this is what we could do for your tax liabilities, right? They could do a little bit of tax strategy, and they usually do. And then your CFO is your specialist. Your CFO, and even if you don't have to get a full-time CFO, you get what's called a transactional CFO, which is significantly cheaper. And he's the guy that's saying, that's looking at what the CPA is doing, looking at what the bookkeeper is doing, looking at what you're doing, and say, this is how. He's a specialist. Like, he's the guy that, you go to your primary care doctor, your CPA, and then your CFO is kind of like your pulmonary doctor. Hey man, look, your heart's not where it needs to be, like, he's the one giving you very specific things that you need to do. And you don't need to see that guy as often as your primary care, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I look at them. You got your nurse, your primary care doctor, and then your specialist.
When you go see the CFO, is it like whenever you're doing something big, like major, like, hey, I'm about to do a Turo business? Does that seem good in that way, or what ways do you use your CFO?
I would say CFO is a much more it's an advanced technique, right? So I wouldn't recommend a CFO until a little bit later on. Once you got your bookkeeping dialed in, once you got your CPA dialed in, then you can be like, you know what, I need to be more profitable. That's kind of, I think that's where when you look at, because your bookkeeper and your CPA should be able to tell you that you're profitable. Because a lot of people don't know that they're profitable, dude. A lot of people are just throwing money into their business, and they don't know if they're turning a buck. They're just like, oh, put it all in the business, right? Boom, boom, boom. But you don't know if you're cash flowing, you don't know if you're profitable. It seems like it is, right? Because you're doing stuff, and money's coming in and money's going out, but you don't know until you have those solid conversations with the bookkeeper and the CPA, right? And then you bring in, once you know you're profitable, that's kind of when you bring in you can bring in a CFO before then, but I definitely, that's more advanced technique. If you don't have your CPA and bookkeeper dialed in, I wouldn't worry about bringing in a CFO.
Okay. It's more like they haven't met that level yet. You know what I mean? It's like guys that are not even cash flowing $100. They're focusing on getting a CFO. Like,
yeah, it's not that time. Nah, man. Get your books. I'm telling you right now, what's gonna kill you, like as an entrepreneur and a business owner, what's gonna kill you is not understanding your financial statements.
Yeah.
Not understand. I'm telling you, man, right now, like that's what it's about as a business owner. Understand. I got two. Let me see my other books here, and I keep them close by, man. There's two books that I freaking recommend. Profit First is one of them.
Profit First.
Profit First, and they got one for real estate investors. I don't know where it's at. I got so many books here. But then this is the other one right here, man.
Can't see it. What is it? Oh, accounting and the number phobic.
Yeah, accounting for the number phobic, a survival guide for business owners. Yeah, so if you don't know anything, if you're horrible at math, this is a really dumbed down version of understanding books, like accounting for business owners, like that one, and Profit First. Like if you start doing, I don't have the book here, but if you start doing Profit First, even if you're not a real estate investor, even if you're doing Turo, whatever you're doing, if you read Profit First, there's the original Profit First book. But if you're doing real estate, definitely read Profit First for real estate investors. If you're not doing real estate, read Profit First, and then that'll lead you into understanding your books and the CPA and bookkeeping and CFO, right? And then definitely this book right here, Accounting for the Number Phobic. Yeah, highly recommend, man. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Do you have a favorite productivity hack for entrepreneurs?
Yeah, man. Sauna. Well, I say a sauna, man. I mean, I don't know if that's a productivity hack, but I use a sauna religiously, man, with our team, like, because number one, you're gonna have a lot of repetitive stuff. As an example, if you do Turo, you're gonna have things that just repeat. like clean the car, do this, do that. Like it's all on repeat. So if you build that system, and that's what differentiates a business owner from like a self-employed person. A business owner has systems and processes that they could eventually sell off, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier. Like you should, in my opinion, you should always be thinking about how can I package this business to sell it, right?
Mhm.
So if you think that way, your books are going to be clean. Like the decisions that you make are going to be clean. Like your credit, I mean, all these things fall in line if you have that mindset. Like I will, even if you're never going to sell it, right? I'm not going to sell. There's pieces of my businesses that I won't sell. But even if you're never going to sell, just have that mindset that I need to sell this at some point. You're going to do, your business is going to be so much cleaner.
Yeah.
Right? So
Nice. Yeah.
yeah, so that's my productivity hack is get into Asana, get into building systems and processes through Asana. You can use Monday, some people use Monday, some people use some other stuff, but I use Asana as a project management. I use that to run we have another good book that we read and we implement. It's called Traction. Um
Yeah. The business book by Wickman.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's I mean they got another one called it's mostly cartoons, which breaks down traction. What the heck is it, man?
What is that? The cartoon
I,
traction?
I got these books right here, man. This how much I use it. This thing is like falling apart. But what's it called, man? It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. If you look, go ahead.
Oh no, when you first said Asana, I thought you said an actual sauna. Like you sit in a
Oh,
sauna. Yeah, that's why I was like, what? And then I was like,
no,
oh, Asana. Okay, the
Sonic.
application.
Yeah,
Yeah. And now it started clicking in my head now.
yeah, Asana, man. That's been it's been instrumental in our because we could like I said, we can go in there and assign tasks because so many things start happening and you forget. So Asana allows you to put a due date on it and a person. So even if it's just you, again, that meant that mindset that you're gonna sell this, like at some point you should, as a business owner, be thinking about and start employing someone,
Yeah.
whether that's like a bookkeeper, CPA, an executive assistant, whatever it is, like you should be, that's your goal, is to hire someone to take stuff off of your plate so you can do something else. Right.
Hmm. Got it. Yeah, that's I like that. I like that ideology on that. And what's your point of view on like money making stuff like real estate, crypto, stocks, any other money resources like Turo? What's your overall thoughts on each one? Especially like
Um,
stocks and crypto, because that's where a lot of people are heading towards, the young people.
it depends, right?
Yeah.
But for me personally, man, not that I hate stocks. I don't, and not that I don't believe in them.
Yeah.
I just trust myself more. I trust that I can manage my money. So I don't have any money in the stock market. I pulled all my money out of the stock. I pulled my mom's money out of the stock. My mom is making significantly more now. Um, so we use her money to private lend. I pull all her money out of her 401k
Uh-huh.
and put it into a self-directed IRA. And with a self-directed IRA, you can buy anything. You can buy baseball cards, collectible cards, gold, whatever you want, you can buy, right? Real estate. So what we do with her money and what I do with my now I don't have TSP anymore. I rolled it into self-directed IRA. So we lend to investors, right? So we make considerably more. We make on average 20 to 30% return
Wow.
annually, private lending versus keeping in the stock. Can you make more in the stock market? Yeah, but you could also lose it all.
Yeah.
And it's not like private lending. When I private lend, it's backed by the property, just like a normal mortgage, does, right? So I know that my money's secured with a property.
Yeah.
When I keep money in the stock market, it's not secured by shit. It's like Apple could all of a sudden be like, hey, we're closing shop and we're done. It's highly unlikely, but it could happen. So I trust me putting my money being a savvy, pretty savvy investor, I trust me more than the stock market at this point. And you don't know where it's gonna go. So I invest in real estate. I invest in Turo. Although the Turo I mentioned it before. I'm considering selling all my Turo fleet or scaling up, meaning I'm at a point where it's not a lot of work, but I'm at a point where I either need to bring people on and get more cars, or I need to just sell it. So
Yeah.
that's where my decision point right now is: do I sell it with all the cars, or do I get more cars and hire someone on to take care of all that?
Yeah. Okay. What are you tending towards more? Are you tending towards selling it more, or are you tending towards like just hiring people out?
Um, and I'll mention crypto real quick because I got to finish that one. So
Yeah.
crypto, I'm not a crypto guy. Not that I don't believe in crypto. It seems to work for a lot. Like things work. Like there's so many things that work for so many people. Oil, this, that, right? But you got to figure out what's for you. And crypto's not for me personally. So, but if crypto's for you, that's great. If you can make crypto work and make money off of crypto, do it. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm definitely saying it's not for me. So what was the other question I just
Yeah,
had?
are you tending towards selling your cars, or are you tending to actually hiring more people? What's more efficient for you?
I think I'm gonna sell it, honestly, because that's where I'm leaning more towards, and the reason I say that is because I joined a mastermind, and I've talked about this before. I joined a mastermind last October. Um you want me to mention that mastermind?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I joined this mastermind called Seven Figure Flipping last October. I had been at that point in my entrepreneur career, I was looking for a group of people to kind of like, I had hit a ceiling, and I'm like, I can't bust through this ceiling. I know I can do way more. I know I have more potential. Like, how do I bust through this ceiling? So I started looking at masterminds and going to all these mastermind uh, um, calls and Googling and talking with people. And none of them were hitting like what I wanted. And they weren't my style of people. Um, so I went to Flip Hacking Live in October in Orlando last year, and it was just awesome. And I'll tell you, my real estate business has quadrupled probably since joining. Like I was able to quit my federal. I had a good federal government job, bro. Like it was straight. I had a good GS position, and I quit. And I went after real estate full time just because of, so much of the stuff that the mastermind was giving me. And like I go on every quarter I go on to another meetup with them. We meet in Nashville, we meet in Cancun, we meet in like Chicago, we meet in all these different places, right? And we just sit down for 3 to 4 days and just beat the crap out of each other.
Well, that
In
sounds
addition
awesome.
to, dude, it's look, man, I didn't want to spend the money. I ain't gonna lie, it ain't cheap.
Yeah,
Um, but I didn't want to spend the money. But that has been at some point, and you guys are all gonna get there. At some point, you're gonna do as much as you can with YouTube University
yeah,
and the free information and all that stuff. And you're gonna hit that ceiling, and you're gonna be like, dang, all right, like I'm doing okay, but I know I can do more. And the key to busting through that ceiling is a mastermind. A good mastermind. You got to find one that speaks to you and isn't about just taking your money, in my opinion.
yeah, definitely.
And maybe you don't join that mastermind now. Maybe you find the one that you're kind of like, oh man, this is it. These are my people, right?
Yeah.
But I can't afford it. I'm gonna afford next year, right? So like, yeah, mastermind is gonna change your world.
Do you think you'll ever make your own mastermind?
Probably not, man. Probably not. There's so many really good ones that
Yeah,
it's just not my like someone asked me the other day, do you want to get into education? Like all these gurus are popping up with their course and shit, stuff like that.
yeah,
That's not me. That's not, so stay true to yourself. Like what I'm good at teaching. I believe like I can sit down and teach anyone how to do anything. And I have a passion for it. You know, some people have told me I'm a pretty good instructor, pretty good teacher. They learn, but it's not my forte. I'll do it for the fun of it, but I don't want to monetize it.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, definitely, definitely. And what's your advice for an 8-year-old that is trying to get financially free right now? Like they're just trying to, they're going from rock bottom up, right? What's your biggest advice?
um, man, I would say my biggest advice for the younger generation trying to figure it out is start exploring, man. Just like honestly, don't you gotta have fun, right? You know, when you're 20, 18, 19, whatever that young age, that younger age, younger demographic, you gotta have fun. You gotta go out there, party with the guys and stuff like that. I'm not saying don't do that, but don't make that the highlight of your
Of your
your
life? Yeah.
weekends, right? Like have a peak, you gotta do that, right? But you also have to start because you don't know what you don't know. Like you don't know that you're gonna like real estate. You don't know that you're gonna not like college. Like there's a lot of things that you just don't know at that early age. So the best thing to do, in my opinion, is just explore it all. Like don't think about how much money you're gonna make at a job when you're learning a skill, right? So
Mhm.
an example, like you look at someone that's driving for dollars and you're like, hey, this guy's not making any money, but he's learning something, right? He's learning a skill. He's learning, and that's probably more important is learning a skill versus making money. In your early years, you ain't gonna make shit. I mean, you'll be
Yeah.
lucky a lot of money, right? So I mean, I've been there, I was broke as shit, right? But um, you know, 19 Deltas, we party a lot. So I mean, so it was pretty bad in Fort Polk, Louisiana, but you know, you blow that whole with a $20,000 bonus that you get, right? You blow it. I'm not regretting it because I had fun, but what I wish I would have done was learn more, you know, learn more, you build more skills, go to more meetups. If real estate interests you, go to all the meetups, man, all of them, wholesale, you know, flipping, rentals, just build this up here,
Mhm.
that mindset, and my dog scared the crap out of me. Just build all that.
Yeah, because it's like I've heard it before. Like there's Elon Musk, right? If you took everything away from Elon Musk, put him in a desert, in 1 year, you could probably make $1 million and have a whole city because of the mindset and what he has. Like again, guys, if you guys lose everything, right? Fail fast, fail forward, right? At the end, you still have that mindset. You have the wisdom of doing it all. You can do all that over again. You have a life, you have a lifetime, a whole lifetime. And Rich, we're gonna move on to the ending questions here, but before we do that, we're gonna go through the panel and like uh see if they have any questions. Dev, go ahead.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right. Believe it or not, I had questions lined up, but Rich, man, you've managed to answer all of them. A few of them were, how does the Turo business work? What are some of the hardships that you face? You know what I'm saying? And then another one was, how did you find your niche and how did you build your credit to get started? And you've answered all of them flawlessly. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. And I don't know if you put. I mean, if you guys ever need any help, you know, I'll be more than willing. Like I said, I love educating and I love helping people out. So I mean, I don't charge for any of this stuff. So
Yeah.
I've jumped on the call with plenty of people that I'll walk you through car seeing how I have mine set up. I'll show you my whole setup. That's not never a problem, man. Just reach out. We'll do a Zoom call.
Yeah.
Are
Rich,
you are you
go
active
ahead,
on
Dev.
social media?
Yeah, yeah. What's my social media, man? Dang, I know, man. I got. You know what? Let me put my link tree because I got a bunch of stuff on there. If you guys are, I'll find it and I'll post it on the chat.
Yeah, you can
Okay.
post it on chat. And yeah, if that's all you got, Dev.
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to the ending questions here, Rich. While you're getting the link, if you can go back time and tell your younger self something, what would it be?
Man, wow. All right, you're bringing out some fire, man. What would it be? My younger self? don't blow all my money, man. Honestly, like, I mean, I had fun, but I blew a lot of money, man. I blew a lot of money. I had fun. Um, I'm not saying save it all either, but definitely don't blow it and put it into some money making activity. You know, like I would have figured out how to make my money make money early on. You know, that's you know, when you get those 10, 15,000, 20,000 bonus from the military, like you get BAH, whatever. I mean, like if you're single living in a barracks, like you shouldn't be blowing all your money. You get food, you get housing, like save something, put something away and build something, you know. That's probably what I would have told my younger self is don't blow all my money. Put
Okay.
it make
And what would you ask your future self?
my future self, like tell my future self what to do.
No, like you want, what do you want to ask them? Like any question?
Oh man. Man, how do you stay looking so good? No, I'm kidding. No. Yeah, I understand that. Man, I don't know. Man, these are some killer questions. Dude. Where do you come up with these questions? I never heard of.
I'm just thinking of, I don't know, like asking you, I feel like these are kind of cliche, like ask your past self something, but the future something,
Future self is different.
yeah.
Yeah, the future self. I'm like, man,
It's because whenever I do like, I'm like journaling or anything, I'm like, if I were to talk to a guy in my deathbed, right? Me in my deathbed, what would he like regret or tell me like, hey, man, you
yeah.
should have done this, you should have done that. I'm like, all right, all right, all right. Talking to my future self. I sound a little insane, but you know, that's how I get things. So I'm like, okay, what would you ask your future self?
I don't know about. Yeah, I'll say it this way. So I'm pretty good with relationships, like building relationships. I'm not great at maintaining relationships. You know, I'm probably the last one to get on the phone with people that I haven't talked to in months, right? But I'm pretty good at relationships, right? Um, but where I do lack is and I have fun with my family, you know, but I feel like maybe it's an age thing. I'm 41, just turned 41, and so like for me, I'm realizing that maybe I haven't spent as much time with my family as I wanted to, or not quantity, more quality. So that's probably what I would tell my future self or ask my future self is, hey, you need to make more time for your make quality time for your family.
Okay.
It's family and friends, not just family, because you know, I spend a lot of time with my family, and sometimes it's quantity, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's quality, right? But I would definitely say like cherish my relationships, my friendships way more than I currently am for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. More quality time with your family members. I think everybody needs to like get that down too, because yeah, like especially like if you're just seeing them every day, you never like I'm in one of those families where we just like say, hey, what's up, right? We just talk, right? But we never have those deep conversations like, hey, how are you actually doing at school, right? Or how are you feeling right now? Uh I tend to start those conversations. They don't like it because they feel uncomfortable. But I'm like, hey, I just want to know because sometimes at the end they start crying like, oh, this happens. I'm like, oh, see, that's quality right there.
Yeah.
And second question is, what do you think is the secret sauce into being successful?
Taking action in that period. That's it. I mean, you hear it a lot, and it's the truth, man. I mean, so taking imperfect action, falling forward, you hear it in different ways, but there's only so much YouTube you can watch.
Yeah.
Before you go out there and actually do it.
Yeah.
You just have to, you're not gonna have A through Z. You like steps A through Z. You're not. Like you figure out step A, maybe A and a half, and then just go. Especially at a young age, like I'm still fairly young in my opinion,
You're
right?
pretty
I'm
young,
like,
yeah.
but I still have time to mess up. You can mess up and you're gonna be all right. You know,
Yeah.
like there's very few things in life that you do and it's catastrophic, right? So just fail forward, do it, and you're gonna learn so much more from experience versus just like oh, I'll get to it next month or next week or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that. So like, just pick a path, do it for a little bit, and you'll be all right. Yeah, just fail forward.
I like
Action.
that. I like that. Is there a quote that you live by?
Man, let me see. I got two on this.
You're ready
Um,
for this.
Man, look at this quote again. Just that, man. Probably just fail forward. Take action. Imperfect, take action. That's it. Just that's probably what I live by. Just take action. Man, I've fell so much on my face, but you just get right back up and you keep going, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Every
like-
day. Even today, even like I probably messed 3 things up today. I don't know, but every day I'm messing something up, man. And it doesn't matter. Like I don't get emotional. I don't get in my head. Sometimes I do, but you gotta like reset, figure it out, move on. I call myself a solution specialist for a reason. And that's what I do. I find solutions to problems. You know, like what's the problem of the day? That, okay, let me try this. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, let me go back to this, you know. So I'm always messing up every day.
I like that.
Take action. Yeah.
The problem of the day. I'm gonna start doing that now. I want to start like figure out if I can like make myself a problem of the day. I like that. Because the way I see successful people is their stress tolerance. How big is your stress tolerance? If you can handle the most, like you're in $3 million in debt, you're like, everything's cool, you know, it's cash flowing here, breaking even here. I mean, a lot of people, they just blow their brains like, oh wow, this is too crazy for me. But if your stress level is like, I'm chilling, it's not, it could be worse.
First, man.
It could be worse, especially if you join the military, like you understand, like you can eat shit. Like it's bad. But like what, you lost, so you got a bad review on something, you're like, oh come on.
Worry about that, man. I used to say one of my things I used to say is some of my soldiers picked this up too. I would run around saying, man, at least we ain't getting shot today. So I'm like, I'm having a great day. Not getting shot at. It's a good day. Let's go. Well, what's the problem?
I love it. And what books would you recommend for certain situations? I know you recommended Profit First, Accounting for the Number Phobic, Profit for Real Estate, and Traction, and the other Traction cartoon book. Is there any other books you recommend for certain situations in your life? And the Purple Book.
Purple Book, man. Purple. So Purple Book is mindset right off the bat. If you haven't read the Purple Book, read the Purple Book, right? That's mindset. Then Profit First is important because a lot of us entrepreneurs, business owners, we feel like we need to consistently feed the machine and feed the business and never take a profit. And that's wrong. Like we started this business in order to make a profit, in order to be profitable, right? So it makes no sense for you to pour all your money into the business. Take a piece, even if it's 1%, but it's something. Get into that mindset to keep a piece. So that's Profit First is important. The accounting book is important because you need to know your numbers as a business owners. Traction is important to start building processes and start thinking about this is a business. And a lot of business owners use Traction, the EOS system. Those are good books. Let me see, I got some here. Hey man, those are probably the big ones. I don't get into this whole, in my opinion, my recommendation is the most important thing about books is implementation.
Yeah.
So a lot of people run around talking about, oh, I read 100 books a month. It's just like 100. I own 100 units. I own 100 doors. I don't give a shit. Like that's just excuse my French, whose dick's bigger, right?
Yeah.
So like, all right, you're great. You have 100 units, but you only make $30 a unit, or you're partnered up with 14 other people, which isn't bad, but it's like, how much are you actually making? And you got all these issues that come along with owning 100 units. Whereas like I have I don't even think I have double-digit properties, but I don't have double-digit rentals.
Yeah.
Because we got rid of rentals, and we just focused, like anything that wasn't making over $400 in cash flow, we got rid of.
Yeah. You got smart with it. You're like, this is not, but you learn from your other, that's me right now. Like I've a couple properties now. I'm like, wow, I mean, at first I was like, like when I bought, I'm like, wow, I'm making so much money, like $200. I'm like, well, now I don't even want 200. I probably do way better, but I was naive back then. Now I'm more smart. I know how to do. I know how to find more deals. It's like, well, you got to sell, and then you just learn from your mistakes. Not mistakes, but like you could do better. You know,
Yeah.
that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to evolve.
Yeah, you're always trying to evolve, brother. It ain't about that ego thing. Just let that shit go. But yeah, so books, going back to books, implementation is the most important thing on books, man. So figure out what you need in life right now, you could ask around and be like, hey, I need a book on. Chris Voss's book is awesome too.
Oh, like how to study
Never
people.
split the difference.
Yeah.
Never split the difference.
He has a couple books. Yes, Never Split the Difference. FBI, like reading people's like nonverbal communication. They're all really good. Yeah, that helped
Yeah,
me a lot.
Never split the difference is good for life in general, honestly. That one's good. So that's another book I recommend. But whatever you need in life right now, figure out what like most people are reading about. Like if it's about lending or whatever it is, figure out like these are the 1 or 2 books that are top in that category and implement it. Like don't just read it and be like, okay, I read 4 books this month. Like who gives a shit? Like honestly, like
Yeah, we got Chris
implement.
here saying that he loves the book. He's implementing by mirroring people now to get like, I'm like, hey, I for some odd reason now I'm like checking people. I don't mirror people, but I see them mirroring me. I'm like, oh, so you read the same book? Nice. You get to that point, like, okay, it works. I mean, I like it. We're gonna move on to one of our things that we do here, Chris. Is called spinning the wheel. Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Hey, I never seen this on a podcast before, right? So this is our thing, okay? One of our unique things.
Oh man,
All right.
that's cool.
What is your dream?
Okay, it's still going, man. All right, yeah, what's your dream? Um, man, my big dream thing right now, honestly, is not so much retire earlier because I'm pretty good. Like I'm 41, I'm on a path to retire like probably 2 to 3 years completely. No, I'll say 3 years. So my dream, man, I have 2 dreams. I don't ever want to run them, but I want to have them. You guys ever been to Dirt Bags in Hope Mills?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dirt Bags, it's a brewery in Hope Mills. It's the way it's set up, it's awesome. It's a brewery, but it's so much more than that. It's very communal.
Yeah.
I like communities. I like having a small network. I like this family feeling. So what they were able to do is, they got the farmers market, they have the stage, they have all these events always going on, and it always feels like just friends. Like that's what I want, a brewery, man, with just like a big one like that. That's a dream. And my other dream is I want to build another community, right? Like a small village, like veteran style village, like not veteran style, but with veterans. So it's all these little, it's 2 of them. It's actually a small village with a bunch of, I'm giving you some long answers. Small village with a bunch of like smaller houses
Yeah.
for veterans, right? And then I want another village that is like Airbnbs, like small little tiny home Airbnbs, So
Yeah.
it's like, and
I
then
like
I
it.
could, I don't know, man. I like community stuff. I like building communities and putting people on my island that I want to hang out with,
Yeah.
That's,
You're the thing that but what the audience don't understand is that Rich is like one of the happiest, like what he is right now is what he is in real life. Like he is just like full of energy, just a loving guy. You're like, I want to be friends with this guy. That's like the type of energy that you get from Rich. And no
thank you. I
negativity.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I never like you're like when we first met, you're like you just started like putting me like closer to you. You know what I mean? Like, hey, how are you doing? Right? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm new here. You're like, yeah, you should get this credit card. This like you're helping me out. I was like, whoa, this guy, like he was helping my situation. I was so confused on certain things, but this guy, Rich, he'll help you out no matter what. Like, I kid you not. And that goes big. That goes big. Trust is one of the biggest things that can help you out. And second to last question here, Rich. Is there anything that you want to tell your mother or father?
Whoo, man. Wow. Yeah, man, just thank you for being, they're role models, man. Honestly, they're role models. They you know, just like any other marriage, they've had their issues.
Yeah.
You know, like we've all had our issues, but they've stuck together. You know, they stuck it through. You know, the different personalities. It's hard to be together for 40 plus years. You know, so thank you for being role model for sure. That's one, and I hope that I live up to all their expectations and surpass it. Actually, I don't want to meet it. I want to surpass their
Oh yeah.
expectations.
I love that. And lastly, how can people reach out to you?
I just sent the I'm on Instagram. Let me see. I don't even know my Instagram. But if you look me up on, yeah, if you look me up on Richard, you know, Facebook, I'm Richard Abrue, Alpha Bravo Romeo Echo Uniform. I sent you the link with all my links
Yep,
on there.
I got that.
I'm on Instagram, you know, Rich Abreu 4 ATF, the number 4 ATF Alpha Tango Fox. Our company's named Abodes Task Force, so that's why ATF.
And you got a website as well, right? I see a
I do, but it's
richardbrew.com.
yeah, richardbrew.com. It's been under construction for like a year, and but I'm working on it.
I'm looking at it right now. It's if you need, I could probably help you out making that website if you ever need some help on that. Because I made my website. If I could show you real quick.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. I got a guy that to do it, and then like I want to change some things around, but I don't want to hire him.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my website right here. So
Oh yeah, what are you using, Wix or
I'm
WordPress?
using Squarespace. It's like the
WordPress.
easiest way. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it goes directly to the YouTube channel, right? All
Yeah.
the people here. Let's say for the podcast, I can click here and all the podcasts show up. So it's really cool. Book notes.
Oh,
If I
yeah.
wanted to, does a little animation. I still got to work on it too. I don't really go on a website with people like I recently like published a book. Let me see. So I published, this is like 2 weeks ago, I published this book, The Ivory. And yeah, so like now people can go and click the link and they can get that as well. So just doing a bunch of things here with so if you ever need help with making the website, I can gladly do it for you. It's really simple in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can make these like subtags, like for example, the money one, right? I just make these types of like blogs right here, like, hey, how to do stuff as a teenager, how to get an 850 credit score, fuck debit cards, hello credit cards, you know, small things like that. Like,
Yeah.
it helps a lot of people out. But yeah, if you need help making this website, I got you, because I'm looking at your website. I'm like, what is this?
That's it, man. The guy got me, man. He didn't get me. It's just he had worked with some other people,
Mhm.
and I said, okay, well, build mine. And I just have no like, I'm not good at this stuff. I'm just learning how to do my Facebook stuff and you know the social media stuff. I'm getting on there more, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
I'm failing forward, like I said.
Hey,
I'm
I
taking
like it. I like it. At least what you have is a nice URL. I'll tell you that. You got a good URL. You got your first and last name, which is awesome. Well, not a lot of people can find something like that. But yeah, good stuff to you. And yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. I actually like what you did here. It's like the nice animations. Animations are nice. Maybe the
Yeah.
homepage needs a lot of work, but the photo's nice. It's clean.
Yeah, I definitely want to work on it more. So yeah, we'll have that conversation.
Yeah,
man.
definitely. Just text me and I'll help you out if I can. I'm trying to be like you, Rich. I'm trying to be like you.
We're all trying to be like each other, man. It's all yeah, I love it, man. I love working with people. I just love people, period, man. So I always like, it's not competition, it's like where you ever played what's that game? Monkeys in a Barrel or something like that?
Monkeys in a barrel.
What it's this game. You got a barrel and you got all these monkeys.
And they're like
Like,
hooked onto each other.
Yeah, they go my dogs. But they're hooked on each other. So I always tell people, I'm like this. That's how I am. I'm like
Yeah.
the guy up here is I'm holding on to him, trying to come up to his level, and the guy down here, I'm pulling him up too. You know, we're like, oh, let's bring each other up.
I like
So,
that. I can imagine that right now. Man, I love that. I love that. Is there anything, Rich, you want to say lastly to the audience that's going to be hearing this?
No, but I wholeheartedly, like, I really mean it. If you guys ever need anything, hopefully you guys see my contact information, reach out, man. And if I don't know it, I'll find someone that knows it, you know, like,
Yeah.
period. That's what I do. I connect people to, I'm a solution specialist.
All right. Love it. Thank you, Rich, for coming on to the podcast. And yeah, enjoy your time. We love having you here.
All
Thank
right.
you.